Let me show you what to do if your Samsung Galaxy Watch 8 battery life isn't the best. So first, when it comes to official specs, what this watch can do, over here I have the 40mm version. When you check the official specs, so without the always on display, you can get I think 40 hours, and with always on display 30 hours. So again, those are the rated specs. However, in my experience, actually you can get even better like runtime basically on this watch if you do a few things basically on this watch. So again, if you're wondering why the battery life is so bad on this watch, and if it at least lasts you like a full day, so again, this is what you have to know basically if you compare maybe to other smartwatch, maybe one of the Garmin watch or also like a Huawei watch again. So the battery life obviously isn't nowhere as good on those. But anyway, the first thing we can do, we can simply play around with our power saving setting. So if I go over here, basically you have this icon over here. If you click this, you can enable your power saving mode. What this does, it simply will limit a lot of features basically on this watch. Your heart rate sensor actually won't be monitored basically at all times, and it will only be monitored during workouts. Still will work, but also it will limit basically some like background process essentially. So again, I think this is probably the best thing you can do if you basically want to rapidly get much better life with a single click. So again, simply use a battery saver literally. Also, if we go in the settings over here, click the battery here, so it's okay, probably can't click that. So you see, you can also like basically basically limit these health features here as well if needed while during the battery saver. But also you see, if I also disable this, it appears this watch still will actually measure your heart rate, but it will like still limit some features. Also, you see, I can also go in the battery usage tab over here and simply explore which apps and which process essentially are basically draining the most battery. And if you see some app maybe that drains huge amount of battery, you can simply inspect basically what's up with that app, and maybe you can even like uninstall basically. So maybe it's that one single app is causing all these problems. And then also what you can do is you can go in the settings and play around with your display settings. So first, as you see, I have set my brightness at highest, so I suggest you to actually use adaptive brightness. So this watch simply will adjust your environment and basically adjust the screen just as you need, and that again probably is the biggest thing you can do to increase the battery life. Also, you see, you can also enable or disable that always on display. So, but you have disabled the power saving mode. So let's go back. As you see, you can enable now this always on display as well and disable it. And also you have bunch of these features as well. So if you do not need this, you can also disable it. Also, you can play around with your screen timeout and set it maybe to something low. I have set it actually quite high, and various other things over here. Then also what I suggest you do is go in your this wearable app, so which we can use to manage our settings, and click watch settings over here, health settings. As you see, you can like configure basically how often basically this heart rate gets measured. So again, if you want completely disabled, click this, but again still during exercise it will still get tracked. Also we can like disable this stress tracking as well. That also actually consumes quite a lot of battery. And also make sure to go in the sleep and also disable the blood oxygen during sleep. I find basically this is like one of the biggest battery drains also that is kind of hidden. So again, this oxygen measurement also consumes crazy amount of battery in my experience. And also what you can do, you can also change your watch face to something that basically is mostly black. For example, let's see, if I go over here, for example, set this watch face will barely consume any battery life compared to the other watch face. See, only this part of the screen gets illuminated. Again, this also can help improve the battery life. And then finally, also, if you still can't figure out what is actually draining your battery on this watch, also before that, one more thing also, if you actually run your LT on this watch, so if you have the eSIM version, also obviously that also drains like crazy amount of battery. So again, you can maybe like disable it and only enable it when you actually need to call someone. So again, that also will drain huge amount of battery. Okay, so and the last thing what we can do on this watch, if you still can't figure out what's up, we can do a force restart on this watch. So essentially, once we do it, it will attempt to like reset any adapters, maybe Wi-Fi, Bluetooth adapters, and also see if anything is wrong with the watch, and basically clear any cache that also might play around basically with this stuff and cause the battery drain to go up. So the way we do it, so with the screen on, simply press and hold, so these both buttons at the same time. So make sure the screen is on and literally press and hold basically for maybe like 10 seconds essentially. And once it goes off, we can release, okay? And it should boot up in a short amount of time. See, it's booting up, and during this process again, it simply like does a lot of housekeeping, essentially clears cache and again resets your adapters, and also maybe reset some settings that maybe is stuck and causing this battery drain. So again, this also by the way, also I suggest you to even like turn on and off your watch maybe at least once per week to again do a bit of housekeeping. But again, this like forces that actually does quite a bit more than that. So again, you can do that. So again, when it comes to the actual battery life, if you can get with like very basic usage, so in my experience, you can get definitely at least 2 like solid days on this watch if you do not have your always on display and nothing crazy with this watch. Also, for example, if you actually use this watch to, for example, watch some YouTube videos or do heavy tasks, again, we really have to consider just how insanely small the battery size is on this guy. So during my test, actually, when I watched basically a YouTube video on the watch, I basically measured it can only last for at least 3 hours basically. So if you stream some YouTube video with the screen always on and music playing basically, so again, with like heavy usage, again, this watch can literally only last like 3 hours. So again, if you max it out basically screen on brightness and you stream some video essentially, yeah, that's about it. Anyway, good luck.